Hello. Hi, guys. Okay. Hello, Taz. Hi, Mark. Hi, Amphibious. Hi, Jack. Hi, Kareen. Hi, Juju. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Armin. And hi, Ozzy. Hi, everybody on TikTok as well. So Grumpy doesn't yell at me and doesn't tell me that I didn't turn on TikTok. I'm on here. It's going to be a little hard for me to keep up with both chats, but I'll do my best. Do my best. Oh my God, I'll do my best. Hi, everyone. Hi, Sam. Hi, Carlos. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Ghost. So hi, Casanova. The move was good. I mean, I talked a lot about it yesterday. I think, hi, Christina. I'm going to dive into the news like much faster today so we can actually get through it. I've been wanting to do lives at around 10 or 10:30 Kyiv time because my battery, hi, Joe, my battery dies. Hi, Tara. My battery dies at around 11 and I want to go to bed, but my dad has been showing up at my doorstep in the evening 2 times in a row. Last night we went to like a Costco type of thing, but in Ukraine it's called Metro, and we just got a bunch of groceries. And tonight he was like, "Oh, we are gonna go get tea. Do you want to get some tea?" And so I was like, "Okay, yes, let's go get some tea." And so we ended up actually drinking some really good tea. One was raspberry, and one was lemon pear, and they make that tea in-house in that little cafe that's actually very, very close to my apartment. Hi, everybody. Hi, Leona. Hi, John. Hi, Praxis. Hi, Sir TDS. Hi, Nick. And hi, Travis. I'm sorry I scared you. And thought that was the best. Yeah, he's pretty great. I love my dad. But it's kind of like, I've been receiving questions in the DMs of like what I like and dislike about living in Ukraine. And pros, my dad is here. Cons, my dad is here. in a good way, but it's just basically like I love my family and it's so nice to have access to them. But it's also like, so we're gonna do like a 5-minute catch up today, and then we're gonna do the news right away. But so I wrote a post about it today, but basically my grandma, my dad's mom, constantly asks me what type of dishes I like. And she'll be like, "Oh, do you like syrniki?" And I'll be like, "Sure, yeah, I love syrniki. Why wouldn't I love syrniki?" And then the next day she makes me, and I mean like a family-sized portion of syrniki, and she gives it to my dad to bring it to me. And the thing is, like, it's just me and 2 dogs that can't eat any of this. So I have a fridge full of stuff that's never going to get eaten because I just don't have the time, nor can I eat this much. And so everybody constantly tries to feed me. My dad tries to feed me. My mom tries to feed me. My grandma tries to feed me. My other grandma tries to feed me. Everybody keeps trying to freaking feed me. And then everybody comes up to me and is like, "You've gained some weight." I'm like, first of all, none of your business. Second of all, why would I gain weight, you guys? I wonder. Like, every single one of you constantly either brings me food or brings me to get food with you. So, like, maybe like either stop giving me so much food, or like, I don't know, or like stop telling me that I've gained weight. Also, like, none of your business. The one person or the one creature that did lose weight is Cindy. Lost a whole kilogram of weight, so she's back to her normal weight, and I'm very happy about it. But yeah, so that's been, I want to try borscht one day. Oh my gosh, you can. I mean, depending on where you're located, but also I would say that in most places you would have a Ukrainian restaurant or something, or you can go on Amazon or online. Oh, Copenhagen. Oh yeah, so you should have like Baltic stores or something like that. They will have borscht. And you can also order, you can look up torchen, Torchyn. So that's like a borscht kind of, it's like a borscht sauce type of thing. So instead of having to cook it yourself, you can just cook it based on torchen. And we in Ukraine actually love it. So it's not like, you know, it is cheating to make it with that instead of making it with beets and like boiling them and stuff. But it's not really not Ukrainian because we do it all the time. So, you know. Yulia's virtual kitchen on Uber Eats. Oh my gosh, you guys. So you know how you told me you want like a tour of Ukrainian grocery stores and basically like a vlog of a day spent like walking around Ukraine and like doing things. So I am like talking to my mom today. And I'm like, hey, so I've been asked to do like, you know, kind of like go to a grocery store and film things and stuff like that. And trust me, like I'm not like, I don't know how to do these things because I'm not a blogger, nor am I a vlogger. I'm not like a YouTuber. So I don't know how to do this. And I was like telling my mom, I'm like, oh, I want to do this because I've been asked to do this so many times, right? And this woman turns to me and she's like, you want to film me? I didn't wash my hair today. And I'm like, well, then you have quite a few days to fix that situation because I'm not saying you should be doing, I'm not filming you right now, but thanks for agreeing. I thought you wouldn't want to be on camera, but cool. Sure. Yes. Thank you. That'll be great. Please wash your hair and be comfortable and we'll do it. We'll do it at some point. But I was like laughing so hard. She's like, you want to film me? I did not wash my hair. I'm like, no one, you were wearing a hat. You're literally wearing a hat, like a full blown, you know, like pom-pom kind of like thing, a hat. No one would even know, but all right. Anyways, so I order a brand called Nizhin on Amazon. It's from Ukraine. Yes, Nizhin is good, but Torchen is better. Hi. Then props to moms. Fridge tour. Oh my God. I mean, listen, I can do a fridge tour. I can literally do a fridge tour right now, but then we're gonna not be able to get to the news again. And we don't want to do that. So we're gonna do a fridge tour on a day that I can do a live at 10 Kyiv time. Oh, hi Bob. Thank you for the corgi. And hi Monica. Oh my gosh, Happy New Year. So good to see you. And you're surrounded by much better food. Hi, Larissa. Oh my gosh. What do you think about what? Kharkiv here again have hits sitting in the bathroom. Oh no. Oh no. So there, yeah. So Kharkiv has been shelled pretty incessantly. I mean, it always is shelled very bad, but in the past couple of days, it's been like explosions on top of explosions on top of explosions. I've been seeing reports from my friends who are in Kharkiv, and oh, thank you, Monica. And they've been posting about the explosions and the people that I do. The reason why I know it's bad and worse than normal is because the people that I do know in Kharkiv are military, and so they very rarely, hi Ghost, they very rarely actually post anything about explosions, nor do they really react to them, because for them, it's really not, you know, it's not nearly as like, I guess, yeah, they don't really post it. And in the past couple of days, they have been posting it and they have been talking about it. So that's how I know it's much worse than it normally is, because you know, if the military people are posting about it, it's you know, it's something quite out of ordinary. Not that it should be ordinary to have explosions every day, but you know, when you live in explosions every day, when you live in these explosions every day, and if you start posting about them more than normal, then you can tell that, you know, something is really, really much worse than normal. Are you in Ukraine right now? Yeah. Hi, Karine. Thank you so much. Thank you. So good to see you. That's actually a very cute emoji. But yeah, so it's been quite quite bad. So I know that it doesn't really. I know that it doesn't really make the situation better, nor does it, change anything. But like, do be careful, and I hope that everything's going to be okay. And of course, I know that. So here is something that I'll bring up, which I do very often, but I will continue explaining this on every live because sometimes there are new people and they don't know this, or someone wasn't here when I explained it. But so, for instance, in Lviv and in Kyiv and in a lot of other central and western cities, you will not like what you get an air alert way before something is even heading your direction. So for instance, there are lots of Telegram channels that get information straight from the air defense forces, and they will tell you, oh, like a MiG is in the air, right? So, or there are these launchers that are in the air, or they'll tell you that there are Shaheds heading towards Ukraine, and they'll tell you towards which states their like direction is right now. So basically, at the time at which you get the air alert, and in between that and like air defense forces taking down missiles or something hitting or debris falling, you have quite a bit of time. In Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, Mykolaiv, pre-frontline cities, like for instance, Kharkiv is 20 kilometers away from Russia, like from literally not even Russian positions, so not frontline, like Russia. Zaporizhia is 30 kilometers away from the front line. So, for instance, you get an air alert in a lot of cases after something had hit. And it's really sort of scary, and it's a very triggering sort of state to live in, because even if you want to be safe, it's really hard to be, because they tell you don't ignore air alerts, They tell you proceed to shelter. They tell you, oh, thank you, Michael. They tell you to be careful. They tell you to hi. They tell you to sort of to abide by the rules of safety of shelling. But in places like Kharkiv, even if you want to, it's really hard to do that, because you don't get enough notice. Sometimes in between you getting an air alert and something hitting, there is 30 seconds. Like a minute of time is very often is like a very common time frame in between an air alert and a missile hitting. And in a lot of cases in Kharkiv, you just literally something hits, and that's how you know that the air alert is there, because it hits first and then you hear an air alert. And that same thing also happens with ballistics in any city. It's usually something hits and then you hear an air alert, or something gets taken down. And in cities like Kharkiv and Zaporizhia, unfortunately, which are the cities that needed the most in a way, the air defense is not nearly as advanced and as phenomenal as it is, for instance, in the capital in Kyiv, or it is in other places. Odessa finally got better air defense. We got another Patriot battery in Ukraine, but obviously it's not reported which city it's in. But it seems like Odessa is getting better at taking down missiles. And yeah, we really need, for civilian purposes, we really need air defense. For military purposes, we really need ammunition, shells, and shells on top of shells, on top of shells, on top of shells. And yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. The situation in the Avdiivka direction is really difficult. So Donetsk is really, really, really difficult at the moment. Hi, Chris. Hi, Ghost. Thank you. There is a lot going on. It's also winter time. Winter is very difficult for warfare, for defensive warfare. Trenches are cold, for instance. So it's actually not, funnily, usually, the way Ukraine is a very large country, and a lot of people have this misconception that it isn't. So for Americans, it's going to be easier to understand. Ukraine is the size of Texas. So we also have a lot of different climates in Ukraine. So for instance, if you look at the weather in Lviv, it's not going to represent the weather in Donetsk by any means. Meanwhile, Europe is more like European countries are more homogenous in that way. So, Lviv to Kyiv is 6-7 hours drive. Eight is a typical time that you would get there. 8 to 9. I don't think you would get to Ukraine to Kyiv from Lviv in 6 hours. That is wishful thinking, my friend. In Ukraine, there's cold, colder, and coldest. That's not true. Actually, that's also a misconception. I would say that people consider Ukraine to be like Russia, and people largely think of Russia as Siberia. But we don't have a monoclimate. We have lots of different climates, like southern directions are warmer. We have 4 seasons, but for instance, like winters in Lviv are barely there usually. Like we will have 1 large snowfall or 2 large snowfalls or like 3 large snowfalls during the winter, and then it'll get back to, I don't know, like temperatures that are not really super cold. Meanwhile, eastern regions, thank you. Hi, if you know, you know. Hi, thank you so much. Eastern regions they get harsher summers. So, for instance, you'll get like heat. Like in Zaporizhia, it gets up to, I don't know, like 40 degrees Celsius in the summer. It never gets like that in Lviv. But also it means that winters are harsher, but they're also not nearly as long as they are in Lviv, I would say. Like Lviv winters are kind of like light core, but they're longer. And I would say that eastern states winters are much harsher, but they're shorter. But that's also where the front line is. So, it's obviously winters are awful and are really difficult. We also have spring, and we have this Bazdarizhia, and in fall we have that too. It's kind of when like the ground is thawing and it's raining and it's just like mud, and you can't you can't really get around and oh, hi. So yeah. Hi Marche. And okay, so someone says this might be irrelevant, but I saw a video of a Ukrainian, and all of the comments are about Palestine. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing: part of it is a Russian disinfo campaign, and part of it is really people, right? And it's one of those things where you don't know how to react, and that's how they kind of want you to react, right? They want you to be upset. They want you to be mad. They want you to say a bunch of like crappy stuff. But that's sort of like the point, right? From the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, anything that I would post, I would have hundreds of comments that would say, what about Palestine? What about Iraq? What about Afghanistan? What about this? What about that? And it's aimed to just it's aimed to shift the subject. The only reaction I would have is, this isn't about any of these places. It's about the country I'm from, and this is about the war that I am experiencing, and the war that I can comment on because I know everything about it because I'm here, or I'm from here, right? So I would say that. But I also normally just don't react anymore. I just block it, because they're not really saying it because they want better for Palestine. They just want to distract, and they want to be assholes, right? If they wanted to do something for Palestine, they would probably be creating their own pages and like advocating for it. And I don't know, creating efforts, not commenting, what about Palestine, on videos about Ukraine, because that doesn't help Ukraine. That doesn't help Palestine. That doesn't help anybody. That just makes you a dick. That's about it. So yeah, I wouldn't have any reactions to that. I would block those people. Just even if it's on someone else's video, when you block them, you don't see the comments and it stops bothering you. So I do that. So yeah. Okay. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson announced Sweden's intention to send a battalion to Latvia in support of NATO's eastern borders as Sweden gears up to join NATO. According to the Swedish publication Dagens Nyheter, The contingent will include approximately 800 troops, 360 armored personnel carriers, 90 BMPs, and potentially 122 tanks, similar to the German Leopard 2. This Swedish military addition will bolster NATO's Enhanced Forward Presence Force, EFP, in Latvia, complementing the existing force consisting of around 2,000 military personnel from alliance member states. Canada currently leads the EFP group in Latvia. Latvian Defense Minister Andris Spruds emphasized the significance of NATO forces as a crucial element of deterrence, signaling the unwavering commitment to protect every inch of allies' territory. Do you think NATO should be in Ukraine fighting with the Ukraine soldiers? We never asked for that. So here's the thing. Obviously, that would be helpful. But to be honest, we're not asking for that. We are asking for weapons. We don't need NATO soldiers. First of all, like, one of the things that a lot of soldiers are realizing, so it's not necessarily as productive for a NATO soldier to fight in this war as you would think, because a lot of people who served in NATO militaries who came to Ukraine as volunteers for the Foreign Legion literally turned around 2 weeks later and went back, because it is a very different type of warfare. It is not Afghanistan. It is not Iraq. It is not anywhere you're used to. It is not Syria. You do not have air support. You do not have medevac helicopters. You do not have medevacs. You do not have, like, golden hour it's thrown out of the window. It doesn't apply. You, from the point of injury, you can be laying in a ditch for 3 hours, and it's not because Ukrainian combat medics are not qualified. It is because you cannot get to the place of the point of injury because there's just artillery fire constantly at you. You are constantly being shelled. And, that's sort of how it is. And so in reality, the people who know how to fight this war are Ukrainians, and the people who have been here and the people who have been fighting this war, right? We need weapons. We're not asking for NATO troops, boots on the ground, or troops on the ground. We are asking for air superiority, and we are asking for weapons. We need weapons. And NATO military analysts and NATO generals and stuff constantly keep talking about strategies and all of this stuff, and what Ukraine could be doing better and what Ukraine is not doing right, and like combined arms warfare and all this stuff. And that's all good and jolly. But these same people are also looking at the NATO military doctrine and at the fact that they would not be able to even fight this in the conditions in which Ukraine is fighting it, because NATO doctrines literally, they provide for air superiority. They provide for all of these things that Ukraine doesn't have. And you can't really conduct warfare the same way as you would as a NATO general when you literally have, it's kind of like, when you are trying to, it's kind of like someone who is buying clothes at Balenciaga and Brunello Cucinelli and Brioni and like Loro Piana, and pays like thousands upon thousands of dollars for sweaters, looks at you and goes, your clothes could look much better. They don't look great. Like, you could really style them better. And it's like, and you buy clothes at like Primark, and those clothes don't hold up nearly as long as like Loro Piana does. It's kind of like when you're criticizing someone who is dressed in a $5 in like, on a minimal budget, for them not looking up to your standard when you're buying things for thousands of dollars. It's the same as when NATO generals criticize Ukraine and the way that Ukraine does maneuvers and the way that Ukraine does operations and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's great. That's jolly. That's very sweet. I'm happy you have this commentary from a place of privilege where you sit in your expensive ass office and where you have everything your heart might desire in terms of equipment and in terms of and in terms of support. You know, we don't have that. We beg the world for outdated 40-year-old BMPs, and those are upgrades to what we have. And we think they're freaking awesome. And, you know, I will give you an example of, I was raising money for, I believe it was M113s. It was part of a large all Ukraine fundraiser for Azov Regiment. And I was talking about how they would be helpful in the battlefield and why they would be helpful. And all these like men who used to serve in the Marines or who used to serve in the army in America would come in and just be like, why are you fundraising for this? These are shit. They're not good for this. They're not good for that. And they would give me like all of these commentary. And I'm like, okay, see, that's fun. That's great. I'm so happy that you can make these comments. But these are better than what we have now. So if you think that those are shit, can you imagine how bad the BMPs that we do have are? If you think that these are not armored enough, you think that these are easy to destroy, you think they're like not amphibious, you think they're garbage, right? And you think that this is like a waste of money to raise for. This is the best that we can raise for as a country. This is the best that we can actually expect to be able to buy. And this is much better than what we have already. So it's sort of like, you know, our armored personnel carriers in a lot of ways are trucks. And I don't mean like a military vehicle. I mean like we literally have personnel carriers that are trucks, like a Toyota freaking truck that's been modified to be a military vehicle. So yeah, you know, we'll take M113s instead. So that's the kind of thing, and that's the kind of reality, and that's why it's kind of actually silly, hilarious, and really laughable to read commentary from these like big top generals from NATO countries talking about what Ukraine could and could not do better and how we could change strategy and what we were supposed to be doing. Because it's like, okay, it's kind of like, you know, driving a Porsche, an automatic Porsche, uphill, up a very steep hill, with like a 5.0 liter engine, right? And looking at someone, who's driving, I don't know, like thank you so much for that, for the gift. And looking at someone who's driving, I don't know, like a 1996 stick car with a 1.2 liter engine and telling them like, you're not doing this right. You're not driving uphill right. And it's like, dude, your car is like 5 times stronger than my car. And you know, like, and you have a 4X4 and I have a 2. Like, you can't really comment on how I drive, you know, like it's a very different experience, like fuck off. So that's sort of how I feel. Yeah, that's sort of how I feel about all of these experts and all of these military analysts and military commentators, because it's like, especially, you know, when I find former military people online on like TikTok and they give their expert opinion, you know, thank you. And it's sort of like expert, right? And they talk about how militaries are built, why like this could be wrong about Russia or that could be wrong about Russia because this is how communications are done and this is the rankings in the military. And it's like, yeah, bud, that is in a modern, normal military. Russian military is not modern nor normal. It's still Sovietized. And Ukrainian military is hybrid. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Please shut up and stop commenting just because you want views and money. Because clearly you're really not qualified to know what really is going on and how these militaries are structured because you have never actually experienced one. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm not saying that foreigners shouldn't comment on anything. No, like we do love that people are supporting Ukraine. We do love that people are talking about Ukraine. I'm talking specifically about people that deem themselves experts because they did a tour in like Afghanistan 10 years ago. And they're like, I know how military is built and I can talk about military strategy and military structure in Ukraine and Russia. And it's like, no, you can talk about an American military. Like, you can't talk about Ukrainian or Russian military because you do not know shit about it. It's very different. Anyways, hi Priya, and thank you, Ghost, and hi Irene, good to see you. Okay, so so it's been really cold outdoors. So someone has been asking what the climate has been like in Ukraine. So it's been minus 12 Celsius in Lviv and Kyiv. So that makes it about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, I want to say. Yeah, so Melnays 11 on YouTube says NATO doctrine is having air superiority from day one. If Ukraine will have air superiority, then the comments become valid. That's exactly what I've said in the beginning, and that's what I've said like right when I started commenting on it. And yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what we talk about on the podcast quite often as well. We talk about, we sort of analyze the analysts, and why their commentary is reasonable or not. Are you in Ukraine? Yes, I am. Dear Yulia, oh my gosh, hi, you've started learning Ukrainian. That's so cool. I keep trying to start making videos of like basic Ukrainian and Ukrainian slang and sort of things that like Duolingo won't teach you, like how Ukrainians actually speak, not what like a book teaches you. And then I just always get something in the way and I can't, and I just don't have time. So yeah. So it's been really cold. So that's minus 11 or 12 Celsius. It should be getting better. But I did hear that actually front lines are not as cold right now as like Western and Central areas are, which is, thank you, Ghost, which is surprising because normally that's not the case. So that's really good. And I'm very happy to hear that I'm here. I'm happy to hear that our weather is better. Are you in the green zone? Yes, I currently am in the green zone. Why? Also, so I don't know, how many of you guys follow Gun Talk on TikTok? Oh, so there is this situation that had kind of like come to my attention about a foreign fighter, and it's been like kind of getting out of control, and I didn't know if I should like talk about it here or if I shouldn't. But I figured I should. Hi, Gord. Good to see you. Hi. So there is a foreign fighter foreign fighter who joined like the International Legion. I think it was the 1st Battalion, I think it was the 1st Battalion. Is this the Benjamin dude? Yes, Travis, you are quite right. But so yes, dirtbags. Benjamin, oh my god, how do you guys all know this? How do you guys all know this situation? But he was in the International Foreign Legion, in the Foreign Legion, like 1st Battalion or something like that. He's done like some wild, crazy stuff there, including like stealing an optic off of like dead soldier's body. And then like saying that it was his optic, and then he said he like donated it back to a different unit, like he donated a stolen optic. That's reasonable, right? But anyway, so my issue with this is that he's been giving soldiers information. So he was in 59th Brigade, and he had like, I don't know, like some drama with some guys from there. And I mean, the drama was there because he was supposed to go on a mission, declined to do so. And the reason why, so I can corroborate, I can't tell you how I can corroborate these statements because I don't want to put the person who told me about this in jeopardy. But basically, when this all was happening, when this person was in the last brigade that they've joined, and when there was that mission, and they said that they wouldn't go, so they said that they wouldn't go and all that. I was talking to someone at that time, like real time, and they were telling me the situation as it was unfolding. And I remember finding out that there was this guy who like came in, and he was basically just like all talk and no action. And he was like really, I just didn't put two and two together at the time, but he was like doing all this stuff, and he refused to go on a mission, and he basically was just like inflating his experience. And he was just kind of one of those like people who was like looking for clout and stuff like that. And then he decided to like he was gonna leave. Then he decided to stay while he was like waiting for his paperwork. And then there was another mission, and he didn't go on that one either. And he was like, a lot of people at that time were like super not happy with what was happening. So I can corroborate that part of the situation for sure. And so everything else that has come out is just ridiculous. My issue is that this person has like been saying that they're only here to write a book and get a book deal, and that they could say anything, and Americans would believe them, and that they're literally just they're basically here to get fame. And that's all good and jolly as well. There are lots of assholes everywhere. But then after they've had conflict with the men in the unit they were at, they basically started saying they started sending these particular guys from that brigade to track a Nazi merc, which is this Russian Telegram channel, if you're not aware, that tracks Nazi mercenaries in Ukraine. Hi, Diane. So it's not mercenaries, it's actually like volunteers with the Foreign Legion or foreigners in the AFU. And they post like all of their personal data. They post their like Facebooks, their Instagrams, like everything they can find. And so this person leaked one of the fighters to that channel. And then they were like, oh, they knew it already, so why did you do that? And then people from that brigade had been basically ending up on Track a Merc quite every other day since. So I'm assuming he's probably still leaking quite a bit of information. He was like threatening to give out locations of a base where guys are sleeping. Like where a unit literally like their base. He was threatening to give out location. He was posting videos that he had that were under OPSEC that were revealing like too much from missions, from stuff like that he wasn't even a part of. Missions where like some guys were KIA or MIA. So it's just like, it's ridiculous. And this person is still like making videos and trying to justify his situation, and trying to say that it's just like some sort of personal vendetta of some person from that brigade who doesn't like him. And it's like, it's like, what the fuck? And the interesting thing is that I was in contact with this person. I'll tell you a little more about it later, because I just don't want to jeopardize anything. But I was in contact with this person. When this video came out, they just started like writing me miles and miles of text about how I shouldn't believe this video, and how I shouldn't this and how I shouldn't that. And then I put two and two together, and I figured out, who this guy is, and that I've heard about, that I've heard about him before. And I was like, oh, wow. But it's, it's just kind of crazy, because it's so upsetting when people decide to find some sort of personal clout and glory and like whatever on someone else's suffering. Like, this is not a game. This is not I'm going to write a book about this thing. It's a war. It's a war, and there are real people who decided to defend this country, who are putting their lives and their safety on the line. And it's really upsetting to see it. She's American. Ні, я не американка, я народилася і виросла у Львові, я наразі зараз проживаю у Львові, мої батьки зі Львова, я взагалі українка, немає в мені нічого американського, я просто доволі довгий час жила в Америці. Yeah? Good? But also, Grumpy, don't block everybody. Don't block everybody. Don't be so mean to everybody. I don't think that was something to get blocked over. I think that person literally thinks I'm American and they don't know that you're a mod or how much you know about me. Hi Hichem. Hi Yulia. Oh, hi Tridents. Oh my gosh. Hello. So yeah, so that person is also now in Poland, and yeah, Grumpy, but take it down a notch. Hi, Jamie. Yeah, well, I'm in Ukraine again. I was in Ukraine, then I went back to the US, and now I'm in Ukraine again. So yeah, so this person has kind of they're in Poland, and yeah, and I I hope that if they come to the border with Ukraine, they will be, oh, thank you, Chad. Also, hi. Oh my gosh, hello. I hope that they will be arrested, honestly. I did give their information, to proper channels, and I hope that that's gonna help. Also, see, Grumpy, how are you missing this, but you are blocking that, So there is that. Yeah. So that's kind of what's been going on. Good Ukrainian dog name, anyone? Sini is a good Ukrainian dog name. Hi, Chad. Sliva is a good Ukrainian dog name. Oh, so for those of you who don't know, I did decide, so I finalized the name of the other dog. She was supposed to be Smilива first, but that was super long. And she already reacts to Liv. So I figured what else could be with Liv. And so I called her Sliva, which is prune in Ukrainian. And I already had a dog whose name was Pear when I was a kid. It was my parents' dog, our family dog. So now I have Sinya and Sliva. And Sliva reacts to Liv. And Sini is right over here, my favorite little gremlin. And there is, so this apartment has heated kitchen floor, which is a pretty common thing in Ukraine. And Sini loves it. She loves it. She just sleeps here all the time. She adores it. Also, for those of you who are on YouTube, you'll probably seeing Sini because she's over here, getting a little bit of her attention. Wait, you wait. There you have it. See? You can see Sini now. Hello, Bubs. Or part of Sini. Sin. Okay, get down. I'll pay attention to you in a little bit. I'm still Sini. Baba. Baba, I'm working. Baba, I'm working. Okay. Alrighty. Sin, get down. Get down, Baba. Get down. Thank you. Okay, so I love heated floors. I do too. Oh, okay. Well, Liv is right there too. Sorry. No. Don't get up. I did not want to disturb you. So every single time I'm just where is my other dog, right? And where is this dog? And she's stably, consistently under the table. She's just hanging out here. Okay. So the commander-in-chief of Sweden's armed forces, Mikael Buden, and the Minister of Civil Defense, Carl Oskar Bolin, urged citizens to be prepared for war, as reported by the locals. So that is actually a very interestingly misconstrued statement. He said that they shouldn't enjoy peace and shouldn't take it for granted. Bolin emphasized that peace cannot be taken for granted, even in Sweden, and suggesting otherwise has become increasingly perilous. Sin. Thank you. While he does not assert that armed conflict is certain or unavoidable, Bolin stresses that the threat of war persists in Sweden. Despite the nation's historical status as a peaceful country, he called upon everyone to contribute to bolstering Sweden's collective defense. Oh, thank you, Ghost. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of countries that are close to Russia or bordering Russia have recently been experiencing the same sort of fear because, Russia. So here's the thing: China said they would take Hong Kong, and they did, right? And we all just like literally didn't even pay attention to that. Russia said they would invade Ukraine, and they did. And you know, all of these crappy countries that are dictatorial and that are fascist, they they tell us their intentions. We just don't listen to them, nor do they take them seriously. Nor do we take them seriously, and we should. We should. We shouldn't look at like Russia says that if Ukraine falls, they'll go further. They will. They will. Like, learn from World War II, learn from the responses, the adequate and inadequate responses from World War II, and learn from it. Because Russia will go further if Ukraine falls. And this is not, this is like the US participating or the US giving weapons and Europe giving weapons is not, it's like no one is, no one's trying to perpetuate war. No one is trying to perpetuate war. We're trying to prevent a much larger war, And by helping Ukraine, you can ensure that none of your men and women are going to be fighting in a war where Russia is actually attacking NATO countries. And that's just it. So there is this video clip that I think a lot of you have seen, and it's a missile strike on a hospital in Pokrovsk. So it's literally the moment that Russia struck a hospital, and the impact shattered windows, and it was in the middle of a surgery. And it shattered windows. People got injured, including the person who was getting surgery. But fortunately, everyone was able to evacuate, and their injuries weren't critical. But that is horrifying. So when the New York Times and these other publications say like, "Oh, Putin is quietly signaling for peace." No, he's not. This is not peace. Like, Putin's peace and Russia's peace is just taking time to regroup and reattack. So that's what it is. It's not peace. And you do not quietly signal for peace while launching more and more missiles. So no, I absolutely hate this rhetoric. And this rhetoric is just so, so, so damaging. Yulia, I literally just spoke with a friend from Taiwan about a missile alert that pinged across his entire country today. Yeah, well, so Taiwan is testing just like, so Taiwan has been testing that because China doesn't hide that they want to invade Taiwan, right? And they will or will not do it based on a lot of factors. So actually, interestingly, there was this podcast, and it was by The Telegraph. And I'm not like a huge fan of Telegraph's podcasts. I don't really like their Ukraine podcast recently because I think it has just become like the same thing over and over and over again. And they have such a network of speakers, and they could be utilizing them. They just keep bringing the same people over and over. And I think that they just have so many resources, and they used to be such a good podcast that it like kind of upsets me that they have become what they become. But so they had a podcast that was really, really, really good. And it was called How to Become a Dictator. And somehow, I don't know why, it has disappeared off. Hi, Sandberg. It has disappeared off Apple Pods and Spotify, but you can still find it online. And it tells you what is going on in China and sort of what can force Xi Jinping to to act on Taiwan. And it's not like a single thing. It's not a definite, right? It's just sort of like circumstance. And I think that podcast is really good and it gives you a lot of insight. And it's with a fantastic journalist who lived and worked in China for like years, and she's Chinese American, and it's just really, really good. It's really great. Also, Sandberg. This is the man, the myth, the legend, who is who were just talking about Benjamin, the lovely foreign fighter, who is blaming all of the crazy, ridiculously harmful stuff that he has done on his conflict with his former unit mate, and that is the unit mate. The terrible, terrible Sandberg. So yeah. So if you would like to, meet the terrible person that supposedly, forced this man to give out base information by just being so horrible, and by submitting, people to track a Nazi merc, then well, meet Sandberg. He's the culprit, horrible man, horrible. Anyways, during the night, Russians shelled Marhanets in the Dnipro region. 5 high-rise buildings and 2 cars were damaged. There were no casualties, thankfully. Estonia will provide military support to Ukraine in the amount of 0.25% of GDP over the next 4 years. That's actually huge for Estonia, and that's huge because think about it. It might not sound like a lot, but the U.S. gives Ukraine 3% of its military budget. But 0.25% of GDP is a lot. If each country contributes 0.25% of its GDP, Ukraine will be able to win the war against Russia. Kaja Kallas called on partners around the world to follow Talon's example. That is like a very big thing, and she's phenomenal. So she's one. She's phenomenal, and she's very supportive of Ukraine. And this is a very great initiative. And again, like I find it so interesting that people don't really understand how economies work and how metrics work in those terms. But yeah, 0.25% of GDP, country's gross domestic product, is a lot. It's a lot. If the U.S. gave Ukraine 0.25% of its GDP, 0.25%, Ukraine could win this war like that. Several thousand people protested in Warsaw to draw attention towards providing aid to Ukraine. On Monday, about 3,000 people gathered outside the European Commission's office. The main demands include the immediate provision of more weapons to Ukraine to protect civilians, the transfer of frozen Russian assets in Western countries to Ukraine, isolation of Russia in the international arena. Well-known Polish public figures and politicians came to the rally to support Ukraine. So the new Polish government is very, very Ukraine-centric and very Ukraine-supporting, and it's very, very nice and very lovely to see. We know that the Polish people really do support us, but Duda's government is, they did a lot of good for Ukraine from the very beginning of the full-scale invasion, but it seems kind of like a political campaign for them, and it also doesn't seem like it was genuine. It was more so. It was more so because they were scared of what will happen if they don't. But the new Polish government and Polish people, of course, they support Ukraine tremendously, and it's very, very, very nice to see. And we are very grateful for that. Yay, Poland, yay! Spain donates to Ukraine armored medical vehicles intended for providing medical assistance and evacuation of patients. So these are also things that we need a lot. So this is one of the, so if you listen to Ukraine War Brief, which is a podcast I host that comes out once a week right now, but will be coming out more often when, we have more resources to do that. We discussed why armored personnel carriers are so important, because there is such a long time between the point of injury and between you getting to a hospital. It could range from, an hour, which is a very good case scenario, barely ever happens, to like 3 days, which is a much more, 12 hours is an average. And we really need armored personnel carriers because we really need armored like evac mobiles. Do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, I do. It's the same as my TikTok channel, and I'm on it right now. Russian missiles killed 33 people in Kyiv on December 29th. Kyiv City Military Administration reported that is that day that Kyiv was being blasted with missiles, and it was the largest attack on Kyiv to date, and it was one of the largest attacks on a single country at the same time, or on a single city at the same time, like in modern history. Another killed person was found during the dismantling of destroyed building structures at a warehouse in Shevchenkivsky district. National Police Reconciliation confirmed this data. What's a YouTube, says Travis on YouTube. White House discusses additional production of weapons for Ukraine with U.S. defense industry, says Bloomberg. Approximately 10 executives of companies representing the U.S. military-industrial complex. The source reports that among the participants were executives from Palantir Technologies and Anduril Industries, among other things, specializing in defense computer systems. Fordham deals with defeating drones, and Skydio manufactures drones. American officials told Bloomberg that the companies represented at the meeting are already working directly with the Ukrainian government. That's actually fantastic. We in Ukraine are also, one of the things why this is very good is because we can also form partnerships with these countries where we can have where we can learn from them, and where we can have our defense industry and our military industrial complex grow and thrive and do better, because that's what we've been doing from the beginning of the wars. We've been trying to have our own production set, and I think we've done a pretty fantastic job at that. We could do better, but we were doing pretty good. Also, big news for Ukrainians today, and I'm not sure if it's even true, but I read somewhere today that Nova Poshta is renaming itself to Nova Group, or Group Nova, because, you know, they're going international. And so obviously they've decided to rename themselves to something like much cooler. And it's so annoying because, like, why? For those of you who don't know what Nova Poshta is, it's basically like it's a private post office that delivers anything and everything within a day or two. So usually if you order something from a store, it'll be with you a day after you ordered it. And again, Ukraine is a large country, so it's kind of like Amazon in a way, but it's not a shopping platform. It's just a post office network that works with most online stores and just regular people. And you send something, like, for instance, I have to not have to, but I'm sending a package for Torque tomorrow, and it's probably going to get there the day after. So yeah. Sweden is going to transfer 50 million Swedish kroner to NATO Assistance Fund for Ukraine. The Swedish government announced that the NATO Assistance Fund for Ukraine will receive 50 million Swedish kroner, approximately $5 million. The funds will be used for the procurement of military equipment, fuel, medicine, and demining equipment, which are all very important, especially demining equipment. German company Flensburger. Oh my gosh. Okay. Veronica, are you here? Are you ready? German company Flensburger Fahrzeugbaugesellschaft. Okay. Flensburger Fahrzeugbaugesellschaft is building a facility for repairing military equipment in Western Ukraine, said Bundestag member Markus Faber. So when they do that in Ukraine, I do hope that the German company Flensburger Fahrzeugbaugesellschaft is going to rename itself to something a little less tongue twisty. But how did I do, Veronica? How did I do, Veronica? I actually want to know. It sounds good to me, say people who don't speak German. Oh, hi, Armin. Come on, Veronica, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. I think we're all waiting on how much I screwed up this pronunciation. Please. Out of 10. Out of 10. How did we do? How did we do? How did I do? Okay, while Veronica is making her assessment, a 10. Oh, that's nice. Veronica is a good liar. According to Faber, the facility will repair Western armor, including Leopard 1 tanks. The on-site visit also shows that German taxpayers' money is used profitably and that the value of our military assistance is being maintained. Faber reported on Twitter. I hear worse. Okay, well, but I'm not trying to know if you hear worse. I'm trying to know if I'm doing okay, you know? Russian government illegally deports civilian Ukrainians to Russia and holds them in correctional colonies and detention centers without charge, investigation, trial, access to lawyers, or set release dates. Well, I mean, that's nothing new. Russia has been doing that from the very beginning. I've told you before, Aiden Aslan is going to be co-hosting the podcast once in a while. He is currently at the front helping as a medical driver, and so his appearance has been postponed, but he should be back in about a week, and I'm hoping to. We're planning on working closely together, and I really want him to talk a little bit about Russian captivity and sort of, kind of, you know, the impact of that and the toll it takes on your mental health and the toll it takes on sort of how they treat you, you know, and the fact that you feel like you have no way out because you're not provided any of these Geneva Convention basics and stuff. So I'm not going to comment on that as of yet. I'm gonna wait until Aiden does. So I think you would much rather hear it from him than from me anyway, because he has experienced it. Yulia, where's your lip balm? Nowhere close to me. And I know it's very evident that my lips are bothering the heck out of me, but I have a couple of updates left, so I will just suffer through it. Hungary proposes to lift its veto on 50 billion euro for Ukraine on condition of annual review of funding. Hungary formulated its proposal during a meeting of the EU's 27 budget experts and submitted it to the EU Council. According to the plan, the EU will provide Ukraine with 12.5 billion in grants and loans annually. Some EU diplomats were skeptical of the proposal, pointing out that a year-on-year solution would fail to offer predictability to Ukraine. Oh, thank you. The article emphasizes that the adoption of the proposal would allow Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban to block funding for Ukraine every year or to demand concessions from Brussels to override the veto. Yeah, that's literally what I was going to say, is that is literally what he would want to do. He just would want to have control over this budget every year. So this is really not him lifting the veto. This is him just extending his ability to have the veto over the years. Oh, hi Niels, good to see you. Lurking. I just finished Sean Pinner's book, and he talked about conditions as a POW. Also, very interesting book. Recommend. Yeah, both Aiden has a book as well. Aiden has a book as well, and it was co-written, and Sean has a book, and their experiences are similar and different. And but books are very curated in a way, and sometimes it's just good to rehash that. And you know, I've done an interview with Aiden, and yeah, they are mates actually. I've done an interview with Aiden before, and it's on my YouTube channel, and you can watch that. He talks quite a bit about it as well. But I think it does sort of like, depending on what questions you ask, hi salt of the red earth, depending on what questions you ask, and depending on like how you phrase them, sometimes you can find something new or go deeper. So I like to ask people, you know, more questions. Within Without says, just get it done. Support Ukraine. We can bitch amongst ourselves later. Can we really put the aid off with the shit show we US are about to go through this year? I mean, I agree. That's the thing. It's like 2024 is election year, and people are praising Nikki Haley because because she's recently changed her tune to being super Ukraine supportive. And it's so funny because yeah, she does say the right things. And hi Lexus, she does say the right things. And oh, hi Shelly. She does say the right things. She just doesn't like, she just doesn't they're not reason, like she doesn't actually believe in them. She's using this to win the contingent of people that are pro-Ukrainian, because that's her only chance of winning over Donald Trump. Isn't it past your bedtime? Well, Sandberg, why are you monitoring my bedtime? Yeah. Why are you monitoring my bedtime? More than 24.5% of the territory in the liberated Kherson region has been demined. Yay. 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 Oh wow, I'm like really losing steam here very fast. I'm decomposing. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I just went from like actually being in my sound mind to like literally being like, wow, that's great. But I'd breathe a bit easier with Haley than Trump as the candidate from Ukraine's standpoint. Yeah, I mean, I would breathe easier with Haley than Trump, but I also wouldn't breathe easier with either of them really in power. Okay, so we are prepared to extend our support to Ukraine throughout 24, 25, and 26. The combined GDP of our coalition exceeds Russia's by 25 times, enabling us to significantly bolster weapon production, stated David Cameron, the head of the Foreign Ministry of Great Britain. Our intent, alongside our allies, is to send a clear message to Putin that his strategy of wait and see will not yield success against us. Offering support to Ukraine is our generational challenge, Cameron emphasized during a parliamentary address. He also mentioned that Britain plans to unveil an aid package for Ukraine in 2024 soon. It's probably going to be something pretty heavy. I was going to mention lip balm earlier, but didn't want to offend. Yeah, you wouldn't offend me. I always literally have my lip balms right here. In the winter, my lips are so dry, and I literally always have it on, because if I don't, it like constantly bugs me. But it's somewhere far away, and I don't know where it is, and I haven't like fully put everything in its places. So it's gonna take me time and piss me off more, and I have like barely any updates left, so might as well. Okay. Please note that geopolitical situations and governmental strategies can change over time, so the current stance on plans might have evolved since then. So actually, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like, combined GDPs of the coalition are so much larger than Russia. It's just that people need to start pulling the trigger on the things that Ukraine actually needs, not stalling. Because the thing is like, and they might see strategy installing, and they might think that they're like, I don't know, weakening Russia or whatnot, but they're not, because there is a very fine line between that, and there might not be enough Ukrainians left to fight this war if they keep stalling. And that's really what it is. Okay. That's it. That's all I have for you for today. We will talk about the Davos project tomorrow, and I will tell you a little about the project I'm actually embarking on It's a very short project, but it's going to be shown in The Hague, which is kind of cool. And so I'm just filming a little snippet video, and I need to do that before the 15th. And it's going to be on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and everywhere, so you will see it. But yeah. Travis is asking, how is the fundraiser doing? So I haven't received any new donations since I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm not surprised because I have not posted on Twitter yet. This is like, again, this is something I should not have done it like before I left into now. I should have done it now, because so today I was running around all day and I was like working, and I didn't have like literally a single moment that I could just sit down, and then I took a nap and I passed out for like 2 hours, and now I'm so tired that I can't even, I can't even put things together, and I'm significantly ADHD, so like under pressure like this I don't do well. So I've put time into my schedule tomorrow in the morning when I wake up to like basically do the Twitter tally update, do graphics update, and basically just do like revamp the fundraiser so we can get it going, and so we can actually close it hopefully this month. And I will be consistent the way that I've been with all of the other fundraisers. I feel like I did not do this fundraiser justice because I haven't been as like consistently, oh, we got another $10. Oh, I think I had a late fee from before that I owed. Oh my gosh, look at that. So we got another $10 for the fundraiser. I'm going to put it into the note so I can add it. Up. That's so sweet. Thank you so much. Okay, that'll reflect in the next update, on Twitter, which I should do in the morning. And the reason why I haven't mentioned the fundraiser today is because I'm just like, I can't, I don't have an update for you in a way, because I haven't been able to, to sit down and like revamp it and redo it, and it's just not fair. So yeah. So we're gonna start all over with that tomorrow. Alrighty. You guys, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Thank you, Rosalind. That was so pretty, the ballet dancer. Oh my gosh. Alrighty, you guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna go to sleep. I can't even believe how like vividly there was a fine line in between me like functioning and then just not functioning, because I could feel that in my brain. Okay. Oh my God. Oh, that's so pretty too. Thank you so much, Rosalind. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for staying through the whole thing, Niels, even though you're not feeling well. And you guys have productive days and good days for those of you who are, behind us. And for those of you who are in Europe, good night. And I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope that tomorrow I'll be able to do it actually at 10:30, not 11 something. So see you soon. And good night, Chad. And good night, Diane. And good night, Nick. Good night, everybody. Bye. I'm going to start with turning off here. And then I'm going to turn off here. Bye, guys.